hear it for episode 5. All right. So my name is Joe Deckelmeyer with Screen Rant, and we're going to do a Q&A now. Let me introduce you guys to the co-showrunner and creator of Invincible, Robert Kirkman. And the co-showrunner and EP, Simon Racioppa. Hello, Robert. How are you, sir?
How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. Hey, Simon, how are you, sir?
Hey, good. Thanks for having us.
Well, that was a lot of shit that went down, gentlemen.
Big round of applause for Peter Cullen.
Yeah.
I walked in as that moment was playing, and I was able to hold back the tears, but I cannot believe Peter Cullen is in our show, and his Thanos is just so great.
Well, this cast is stacked. I mean, it's stacked to the brim of incredible talent. First question I have for you, Robert, is
Sure.
Mark has gone through a ton in these last couple of seasons. The second half of the season, well, Robert, the emotional journey of Mark in season 2, can you talk about the challenge of that as a writer compared to the challenge of it doing the comic series?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, when you're writing a comic from month to month, you have a lot of time to kind of figure out, how to parse things out. And I think technically you're getting less story in a comic than you do in a single episode. And so like working on the show with Simon and the writing team, it's cool because you get to kind of expand the issues and combine them, and you have fewer chunks because you're getting 8 episodes, but you get to do more in them, and you can kind of expand the emotional stories and kind of get more out of them, which is a lot of fun. And it's nice on this show because we are able to follow the comics, so we kind of sit down and we have this skeleton. We've done it before. We know what the beats are. We know what the resolution of some things are going to be, and it's really just a process of plussing things up and really kind of digging in and improving things. Like I consider the show to be a second draft of the comics, and I think those emotional arcs, like it's fun to get in there and kind of kick the tires and go, okay, how can we turn the dials and make this a little better, make this a little more effective, and that.
Also, let's hear it for the Skybound team and the Prime Video team for putting this all together.
Yeah.
This is so much fun. I can watch Invincible like this every week in this giant theater. This would be incredible.
We do. I come down here and it's great.
Simon, what unique storytelling opportunities did the animation medium provide for the second half of season 2?
I mean, it just lets us do these big, great scenes that would be hard to do live action, right? Like to do the show live action. Our budget would have to be like $60 million an episode, more than that probably, to do something like this, right?
Like a 80% Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So so it's possible. But no, it lets us tell the story that's in the books, right? If we were doing this traditionally like a regular TV series, we would have to change so much to do a live action. So I think early on when we were talking about that, it was just like, animation, let us do the books. And that's what we wanted to do from the start, was like, let's do the books. People love the books. Why don't we just do this? It was the way to do it, and the way also to make it look like the books, right? Like get that, the feeling of like Ryan and Corey's artwork, and get that on screen as best as we can. Live action, again, that would be a translation. So like, why not just do it this way?
Absolutely. Now, I love the Invincible fan base. You guys are great. With such a passionate fan base, how do you balance staying true to the comics while introducing elements that are going to surprise viewers? And also, can you talk a little bit about introducing new characters that aren't in the comics as well?
I mean, I think that, that's a lot to parse out. Introducing new characters, I mean, personally, that's a thing that makes me excited about the show. Like the little things like Kahur that pop up once a season and only once a season are the things that like excite me about the show, because it gives me a sense of something new. Sometimes I get bored adapting a story that I've told again. I think I'll talk a little bit about learning a lesson on Walking Dead. On Walking Dead, I was pushing the writing team every season to throw that story out, kill that character, who cares, just because it was more exciting for me. And I was like, the audience that's read the comic has read the comic, they've got the comic. If they're watching the show, like hopefully they're into something new. And there were some mistakes made, and people get angry about things. And so I've kind of learned, like, if you've read this comic for all these years and you love this comic this much, there are things in that comic that you want to see brought to life in animation. You want to see them moving. You want to hear them. Like, you want to, experience those things that you love. And so that's something that we're really excited about doing here. But at the same time, there's certain things you just can't translate accurately, like from a comic, certain things that, work only in a comic. And there's also a tremendous amount of opportunity to do things different because we have motion and sound. And some of the changes here and there actually come from things that I would have liked to have been able to accomplish in the comics, but couldn't because of the lack of motion and sound. And so there's a whole hodgepodge of reasons of why there are differences here and there. But it's, ultimately, like, we're trying to stay true to the comics when we can, but it's awesome that we're able to give people a new experience.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's pretty awesome. Now, Simon, what behind the scenes aspect of producing Invincible would fans be surprised to learn about?
I mean, like, everyone's so plugged in now. I'm like trying to think of something that you might not know. I mean, I don't know. We start every season. I just go to Robert's house and we have the books, and usually we bring a writer or two from the team, and Corey's there, and we sort of sit down and we just kind of spend a couple days going through the comics, talking about the season, like where it could start, where it could end, where the episodes break at. We order lunch. We usually have like coffee twice, usually, maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that. And then we kind of just.
This is not blowing anybody's hair back. They're like,
yeah,
you have coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have lots of coffee. No, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, casting is really fun when we sort of sit down and we sort of talk about, like, oh my God, who could play this role? And we just start throwing names out and sort of talking about that. I'm like, I don't know, what else is like super crazy surprising about
Jason Mantzoukas is an asshole? That's surprising, right?
They're taping
he
this,
seems
right?
like a nice guy. He's not. It's a real pain in the ass. All of his records, he's like, can I say the line this way? Can I change this line to this? And we have to be like, oh, come on, man. Like, it's the worst.
Poor Jason.
No, we talked behind the scenes, and I was like, I'm going to start a feud with you, and we're going to have like a public
Oh, don't tell people that.
Oh.
This is where it starts. Then this is where it starts. Now, Robert Engstrom.
How did this podcast get made? That's what I want to know.
That's
because it's not good.
That's going to go viral now. That little quote. Right. Now, Engstrom Levy was billed as a major villain this season, but we haven't seen much of him yet. Can you tease what we can expect from him in the second half of the second season?
I mean, he talked about getting revenge at the end of that first episode. So it's possible you might see a little bit of that. I mean, he's definitely going to be here. He's in the lenses.
He seemed upset before he left.
Yeah.
So he's
I don't
probably
want to
still
spoil
upset.
anything. I'll say, look, you guys just watched episode 5. Something happens in episode 6.
Yep.
Is that spoiling too much? Something happens in episode 6. I am rusty.
I mean, lots of stuff happens in episode 6. I don't know.
But no, I mean, I think that, Angstrom is a super cool villain, and what's really exciting for me for this season is that Angstrom is like a uniquely focused Invincible villain. He's not somebody that's existed in the world. He's not somebody that Omni-Man has fought. He's not somebody that Guardians of the Globe have fought. He hates Mark Grayson. He hates Invincible. This is Invincible emerging as the centerpiece of this show, and he's got his own villain that's going to be completely separate from the Viltrumite threat and everything that's going on with his father. We're just continuing to pile on more and more threats and really ruin this guy's life. You would think we hate him, but we don't.
It's tough love.
Yeah, we just want his story to be as interesting as possible, and so all he gets is misery.
Well, look, you guys Simon, you earlier were talking about amazing voice actors, and Sterling K. Brown, I mean, he's phenomenal. He's absolutely amazing in the role. What does he bring to the role that isn't on the page?
Oh my God. I mean, so much. We just give him the words. One of the best treats about working in television or film or anything like that, or stage, I guess, too, is like you write a scene and you're like, this could be pretty good. And then someone like Sterling comes along and performs it and you're like, oh my God, I'm a genius. And then you're like, no way, he's a genius. He's a genius. But like he makes you feel like a genius because they just lift words off the page and he brings character to it and performance. And like just, with Engstrom, certainly off the top, like just like some great attitude and just like, we have a long talk with all our cast before they play the character, so we talk about their backstory and everything like this, so he can understand where he's coming from, where he's going. Again, it's like hearing someone like Sterling and like the rest of our cast do a scene that we've written or one of the team has written is like the best because you're just like, yeah, there it is. That's like it's better than I imagined it when he performs it.
Any Sandra Oh scene, we're in the voice record and it's like, I had no idea we could accomplish something this emotional with just our words. We are brilliant.
Let's talk about Rexplode for a second, because he was left in a bad spot at the end of that episode. But he's grown a lot as a character this season a little bit. What's the best part?
He's almost grown enough,
right,
that you can just kill him.
Almost. What's the best part about writing from this season?
What's the best part about writing for this season?
For him, for that character
for
specifically.
him, honestly, the voice actor that plays him ruins everything about the process of writing for that character, doing anything with that character.
I mean, that's why we wrote him out, right?
Yeah, that's why we're
he killed him.
100% killing that character. Just because Jason is the worst. He's just terrible. But no, I mean, I think that this is the season where you fall in love with Rexplode. He's a jerk in the first season, and you might love him for that. I certainly identify. But there's like a humanity that's emerging in him, a sympathy that's coming forward where you're like, oh, I get that guy. Like I see what's there, and oh God, I'm gonna do it. And Jason does such a good job making that well-rounded character kind of emerge, and he brings a lot to the role. Sorry,
it's painful. It's painful to say it, huh?
It's so painful.
It's almost too bad he dies. Like,
so yeah, I'm gonna miss the character, not the actor.
All right. Now, I gotta ask you because I really love the Adam Eve special that we had last year in 2023. Are there any plans for maybe another like standalone Invincible or In This World series or special?
Well, I mean, certainly not anything I can announce here. So no. I wish there were. I mean, it was a lot of fun to do, and I think that it would be nice from time to time to be able to, focus on one of the side characters in that way. There's obviously things from the comic, a lot of backstory stuff that we did from time to time that would lend itself to that kind of format. But we'll just have to see. It's a big undertaking to add more episodes to our seasons, and as you can see from some of the slight delays we've experienced, it is a hard show to produce. And so for now, I think we're just gonna. Can someone make that shot? No, I'm kidding. But
Simon, it's been fantastic seeing Donald get fleshed out as a character. Can you talk about him a little bit through the back end of this season?
Without spoiling anything?
No, give us a lot of the spoilers.
He also dies. No, I mean, like, the thing I sort of like, going through the books, like, it was a case of where Donald has great backstory in the comics that wasn't at first coming out in season 1. And we're like, well, why not? Everybody loves Donald. Christy Metopoulos does the voice for him, who's just an incredible actor. And
I have nothing bad to say about Christy Metopoulos.
Chris is amazing. He's way better than Jason.
He's great.
So we just wanted to explore Donald's character a bit more. This seemed like the best way to do it. So as long as he doesn't die, you're seeing maybe if he survives, you'd see more of that. I'm not sure.
Chris is also Doc Seismic, so you can see the range there. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That is really impressive. Now, what was the most challenging scene to adapt from the comics to the screen in the latest episode? And did you find yourself surprised by any of the shifts from the page to the screen?
I mean, production-wise, the sequins were a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very hard to pull that off.
The whole directing team just cried at the sequence. They're like, could there just be like maybe 5 sequins? And we're like, no. more than 5. They're like 6. We're like, keep on going.
No, and to their credit, they rallied, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, that. But that's nuts and bolts production stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough needle to thread, this show. Like, if you think about this episode especially, we start on the Thraxan planet, and then we get back to Earth, and we're dealing with Oliver and Debbie, and it's kind of there's a lot of ping ponging that goes on in the show with all the different like subplots and stories that are all happening in one episode, and there's a lot of care that goes into trying to make sure that there's like a natural flow to the episodes, and that it doesn't feel like, we want it to feel like unrelenting, and we want you to feel that propulsion as we move through the story, and we're trying to throw a lot of things at you to make the episodes as exciting as possible, but there is a balance to making sure that it all holds together, and it doesn't seem like you're getting like narrative whiplash as we bounce it back and forth between things.
Right. Now, there's a lot of death in this episode, like especially towards the end of this episode. Can you talk about building some of these characters that had smaller roles in the comics and expanded them for the screen?
You want to handle that one?
I mean, the phrase I've kind of used is we go to the comics and we kind of like open up the panels and find the space between two panels, and then create new panels that go in there that maybe Robert couldn't have wanted to do but couldn't do because the book had 21 pages, So, and that's always fun. So it's just like, we have a character, like Shrinking Ray, who in the books I think was not a huge role in the books, but is a big member of the show. So we're like, let's just go a little further into her backstory. Let's see her a bit more. Let's spend some more time with her, make her seem important, and that's something we're going to try and do with a lot of the characters in the show. And we just going forwards is just spend a little more time with them.
Cool. This one's from the Screen Rant editorial team, so this one's all on them.
Wow, so you're not owning this question?
I'm not owning this question.
I can't wait to see what this is.
Well, it's nothing terrible, but like...
Is it like boxers or briefs or one of those terrible
That was
questions?
exactly... Well,
oh my gosh, this editorial team.
Anything that you can tell us on the live action movie front, and also...
Oh, it's one of those. Like, my gosh, they're making me ask this question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, exactly. You know how it goes, Robert. You know how it goes. And could we see some of the voice actors play their roles in live action, like Sandra Oh or Walton Goggins? And has your work with them affected the way that you would do a live action show now?
Let me think about the best headline I can give.
Please do. Please
get as many clicks as possible. So let's see here. J.K. Simmons is playing Omni-Man in the movie. No, I'm kidding. But
I'm just gonna cut it right there at that part.
Look, it's developing a movie takes a long time. There's not really anything I could talk about. There's obvious things like Stephen Yeun can't play Invincible because he does a great job voice wise, but he's too old to play a teenager in live action. So I've said before he would be Cecil, which I think would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be cool if we're able to get the live action movie off the ground to have as much crossover actor wise as possible. I think that continuity would be kind of fun. The movie would be very different from the show. So there'd be some cool differences there. But yeah, I feel like, have I said enough? It comes out in, I don't know, July 13th, 2026. No.
Perfect.
No, there's
It's a great release date.
No, it does not. I'm completely lying. When there's things to talk about, I will shout it from the rooftops. To Screen Rant and only Screen Rant.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, there's nothing to report right now.
Simon, what role do fan theories and feedback play into the development of the series plot and character arcs? And what has been the most rewarding reaction that you've had, or fan reaction?
Well, I mean, we have the book, so the role, like, we don't really incorporate anything from like the internet or anything like that. But I mean, the reaction, like the Think Mark meme was kind of amazing how far that went. Like, people kept on sending me those. Someone put a compilation video together on YouTube that ran for like 5 minutes of just like different ones. So that was pretty incredible. I mean, like, that stuff is great. I love to see people engage. It just means people love the show. But we don't put that stuff back in the show, obviously.
Robert, looking beyond season 2, are there any specific story arcs or characters from the comics you're particularly excited to bring to the screen?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Dinosaurus is a big one. I'm very partial to the Conquest storyline. I think there's a lot of cool stuff there. I'm excited to hopefully get to adapt that for the show. There's other cool stuff. I think that like the big violent stuff is fun because I think about like how we're going to interpret that and bring it to life in animation and expand on it and that's cool. But there's also like a little more subtle stuff. I mean, also along the like the bulletproof storyline that happens in, I think it's Invincible 97. It's just so dark and so awful. And I'm very excited to get to that in the show. That's one.
That's incredible. Simon, how has it been working with Prime Video and Skyband Animation? How has that allowed you the creative freedom that you might not have on other platforms?
I mean, it's been amazing. Like Prime Video is great. I mean, like, they do The Boys, they do us. There's kind of no boundaries, really. We've never had a pushback. They've never
Been Hotel.
Has Been Hotel.
I mean, fantastic.
Tons of great shows.
Vox Machina.
Mr.
and Mrs. Smith.
That too.
Reacher.
Go on.
What else? Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
And
so good.
all incredible. You should all just watch.
Ring of Power.
Do you need another streamer? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, they're great. They don't push back. They let us do what we want. They give us great. They're the first audience of the scripts.
They force us to plug their shows too much.
They do. But that's how we get the budget for the show. So, no, they're great. They let us do kind of what we want. They don't mess with the story. They give us good feedback. They let us blow up heads and get people eaten. So no complaints.
Yeah, it's a great executive team that we work with. All jokes aside, when we get notes, it's often like, oh, we hadn't thought of that. Great. That's something we missed. Or, it's very encouraging and it's awesome working with executives that like get the show, like the show, are excited about the show and are 100% on board. Because, at times when you're working on projects, sometimes you get people that are like, I don't understand what you're doing, but I am going to assert myself and give a bunch of notes. And that can be a very frustrating process. So it's great that we haven't experienced that at all in this.
Now, look, let's try to avoid spoilers on this question. So without giving too much away, it's been confirmed that Josh Keaton is playing a key role in an episode in the back end of this season.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was playing Batman?
It would be funny if he was playing Batman.
Wouldn't that be weird? You're like, that's a turn.
Yeah, it would be kind of strange. Now, could you talk about the importance of casting Keaton and the significance of bringing the character into the series?
Michael Keaton, right?
Michael Keaton, that's right.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton as Batman in Invincible. No, could you? Yeah.
I think I've said too much already. No, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some fun coming up in the show. I think that anyone who is expecting Spider-Man to appear in a non-Sony or Marvel project is, possibly wishing too much. And I'm not being coy. What are you guys thinking? It's the worst because it's like we don't want to spoil anything, but I don't want the internet to be like, this show sucks because I was told Spider-Man is going to show up and he's not. He's not. And I get this in it's just Josh Keaton. God, this guy.
I know.
This guy. I mean, worth it.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing. He's incredible.
Yeah, you guys are going to love what he's doing in the show and he's excellent. But he's not Spider-Man.
He's not Spider-Man. On an unrelated note, Invincible.
That would get us sued.
I think, yeah, probably would.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Now, unrelated note, Invincible has had some amazing crossovers in the comics, like Spider-Man, Batman,
and Batman coming up, played by Josh Keaton.
Yeah, that's right. Josh Keaton is playing. Yeah. Can I quote you on that? We're going to run that as headline.
I'm
Screen exclusive.
Terrified of getting sued by Disney, but Warner Brothers.
You're all right with Warner Brothers.
Come on.
Unrelated note though, Invincible has had some amazing crossovers, like Spider-Man, Batman, and The Tick. Is there a possibility of bringing The Tick into a crossover since Amazon already had a show with The Tick?
Please, that would be amazing.
Gosh, I hadn't thought about that. That'd be fun. I love the Tick, but I don't know. Who knows what the future holds?
Season 3 writes itself, I think. Right? We got season 3.
Season 3 is already written,
and the Tick's in it.
and the
you
Tick
said,
is
right?
in every.
That's what I thought.
Damn episode. Oh, yeah.
So for eagle-eyed Invincible fans of readers of the comics or even the show, what should they be looking out for on the back end of season 2?
Do you have a good answer for that? I don't know. I feel like I'm playing too coy, and, and the
most
audience
of it.
and the audience hates me.
Right? Like if you like the comics, you're going to like the show.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the last 3 episodes are absolutely packed, just jam packed. So that's cool. And there's some surprises. There's some non-Batman surprises. I love that my tactic of trying to get off of the Spider-Man thing and tamper expectations was to mention that Batman is in it.
Yeah, just go straight to Batman, I feel.
I don't think I'm good at this anymore, if I ever was.
No, you're fantastic.
I tell you, just don't give me microphones anymore. But that was very nice of you. Thank you. I didn't want to step on that.
No, you're good.
It's really cheering me up. Thanks.
All right. I thought you were in deep thought there for a second.
But no, look. I mean, look. There hasn't been a lot of Angstrom Levy. You guys are right. Sterling K. Brown is amazing, and there's a lot coming with him, and he's great. And I can't wait for you guys to see more of that. There's some characters. There's big character introduced in episode 7 that I think is going to blow you guys away. That is very exciting, and dying for that introduction. It's an episode written by Simon. It's spectacular. So yeah, there's just all kinds of cool stuff ahead that I think people are really going to like.
Incredible. Now, this is a really wordy question.
No, I was gonna say,
Oh,
the new character introduced is Batman.
Oh, yeah.
In episode 7.
That's great.
I see the lawsuits happening right now as the email box is filling up.
There's an episode coming up that has Tim Robinson in it, and I don't know if you guys know, like, Tim Robinson is the greatest, and I love I Think You Should Leave, and his stuff is excellent in the show. So yeah, so much cool stuff coming.
You'd never expect him as Batman. He's just the best. But
It's just
like totally different angle on it, which is why we can't be sued, right? Because it's totally different.
We're not introducing just one Batman.
Oh, the Batman multiverse here in the Invincible.
It's a direct sequel to the Flash movie. Yeah.
Probably would have been better, though. One of my favorite parts of the comic is that the story effortlessly builds towards major conflicts while simultaneously planting seeds for other conflicts and dealing with the blossoming of previous seeds. Follow along with me here. Can you share any insight into balancing?
Did you get slotted in at the last minute and someone else wrote the question?
This was sent by editorial. It's the longest question I've ever seen in my life.
Great.
Though.
So you have beef with editorial.
I don't want to put that out.
You
there.
and editorial
is
are
great.
like
They're going to watch
and-
this, and I love every single one of those.
No, F them. But you and editorial are like myself and Jason Mantzoukas.
I would say so. We have the same energy. Can you share any insight into balancing it all to the decision to delve deeper into certain aspects, such as the Viltrumite lore this season, as well as planting seeds for some of the future major conflicts, like the Invincible War?
Now I have a beef with editorial.
And when Blossoms freeze seeds, yeah, you got the question.
You didn't even finish.
You got the question.
That one hit me. I have no idea how to answer this. Yeah, I mean, we weave storylines. It's a very complicated show. A lot of it, just comes from the comic. I think that subplots in comics are, I think Claremont's X-Men is one of the comics that really established it, and it's a staple to comic book storytelling. And when I'm writing a comic, you write to page turns, and sometimes a scene cuts short and you have a page turn coming up and you have a gap and you're like, I don't know what to do here. And so you just add a subplot, and it is the greatest writing crutch ever. It's just like, I don't know, I guess I cut to, geez, who have we not seen in a while? Okay, I guess that guy's in this issue for this one page. And we're kind of like, kind of bringing in that haphazard like nature into the show. So, sometimes you have two scenes and you don't want to cut from one scene to the next, and you feel like you need a buffer. And it's like, oh, let's get this actor in. Let's show this character again. Let's tease this thing we know is coming up, and it's just a lot of fun. And I think it leads to the sense of packed. My answer is as convoluted as their damn question, and I'm hearing myself and I'm hating myself as much as we both hate them.
Starting my beef with the editorial now. I gotta see these people tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, look, the second half of season 2 is fantastic. It is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And you can watch this episode again tomorrow, March 14th.
Please do.
This season will consist of the remaining 4 episodes, airing every Thursday on Prime Video. Woo. Check it out.
Yes.
Invincible, season 2, part 2.
Oh.
Thank you.
Are we done? We're wrapping up?
I'm wrapping up.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for coming out. Really appreciate it. Hope you love the episode, and there's more where that came from. So thank you.
Yes, it is absolutely incredible. I can't. They're in for a treat though. Batman, I can't believe it. Just kidding. Thank you guys. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.